Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 3rd, 2022 at approximately 6:29 a.m. PST. Okay, income tax is finished with, at least around here. So, time to really put things into working motion, especially where the finances are concerned. Okay, I'm going to get back to that one tomorrow. Scrap that. No, actually, I won't. I was going to cut it off, but no, this is a live recording, and here's the thing. It is time to get finances back in order and really get started with it, but the issue of most of that, we're going to be looking at how to lay out and how to get started, get your business turned around tomorrow. Today, this is just one of the things going on inside the brain of the home. Okay, when you take a look at your house and home are in the same building, in case you hadn't figured it out. By the way, I came back to this world, to this lifetime for one primary reason, and that is to show people, to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, but this starts with you. Now, I've looked a lot at the issue of how important it is for you to follow three karmic laws. These are the only three laws that I follow. Okay, and understand every tool that I talk about when I qualify myself as a spiritual guide. Okay, the tools I offer here are the same tools, are the same ones that I personally use when they apply to me. Okay, and the life policies that I talk about are the ones I literally live by. With that in mind, I only follow three laws, the karmic laws, and these apply to everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what qualifiers. There are no but what ifs. They apply to you. It's just that simple. Okay. Now, I will tell you, some of what I say will make some people unhappy because you'll argue the point, well, that's not like me, and here's the reality behind it. If what I'm talking about, considering there are roughly 7.6 billion people on the planet, and due to the fact that I'm not a statistician, I might be a little off on the numbers on that side of it for sure. But when I talk about things, I talk about in generalities. So if something I say does not apply to you, don't pay attention to it. Okay, at least don't take it on. Odds are it applies to somebody around you. Now, with that in mind, okay, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel because now we get down to work. We are currently in month 5 of 2022. Well, month 5, from a base 12 numerological standpoint, is the number of expansion. This is when we make things move. From a logical standpoint, income tax for homes in Canada anyway, at least from what I understand, the last day for filing it is April 30th. Now, apparently business has another couple of months, and that's okay, because mine's all done. That doesn't matter to you, but here's the thing. Now it's time to look at what's going on. Now, we break the building you live in. Okay, you're the core of it. You are, quite from a bodily standpoint, you are the cerebral cortex. You're where everything gets transferred through. But where it comes to the building, your home has a 3-chamber heart. Okay, and oddly enough, so does your house. But the building has a 3-chamber heart. That 3 chambers is your living room, dining room, and kitchen. The brain is situated in your office, wherever you work on your finances. That's the brain. So right now I'm sitting in the brain of both the house and the home. And the first thing you have to realize is that you've got to make sure that you're actually running things effectively. Now, of course, I've managed to get myself from the standpoint, I've gone from the concept of being fighting with things. That is that neat little sign that I work with. Okay. I do have a tendency of keeping it handy because of the fact it's kind of necessary. So I'll just put that there because I don't turn that way much. I need this. That's my recycling bin down there that I was just looking at. As with any brain, you have to keep the logic side working. But the logic side of your brain handles the finances. Okay, which is why I'm looking at this. Okay, and I gotta double check. I don't think I've paid that one yet. So I'll have to double check it. So we put that, where the heck do we put that? Right there to be gone through. Immediately get that out of the way. Yeah, we're having a good day today. Can't find nothing. Okay, well, that was annoying. Dropped a clip on the ground and can't find it, so we're not going to worry about it right now. As you can see, we've got a few too many things on the go. But it dawned on me when these came in. You know, these are bills, and of course they're annoying. But they do have to be paid. But here's the thing. Up until I really started working on it, okay, I ended up dealing with a situation where I was always one paycheck away from living on the street. Okay, but by following the tools that I work with, and by standing my ground on them, I have now managed to get myself to the point, where is this little file here? I like dealing in clear examples with proper facts that show you where I'm standing. Right now, sitting in my bank. Now understand, I spent the first really 56 years of my life working behind the 8 ball. Up until just a couple of months ago, I was literally one paycheck away from living on the street, from losing my house and everything. So do I understand where you're coming from there? The answer is yes. And I'll tell you, the stress from being that low on the totem pole really created a problem. But by taking a close look at the finances, at the backbone of this is how you keep your home comfortable. Okay. And the thing is, the more organized you are, the lower your stress will be. You do not have to take my word for this. But if your stress level is really high and your home is really cluttered, the odds are they're connected. Okay. So you make sure that you take your finances and keep an eye on them. But it really boils down to taking a look at what you're content with. Right now, my physical brain for my home is working nicely. Okay, the heart needs a little bit of work today, but that's okay. By the way, just to be clear, the reason I seem a little scattered is I was looking at it going, how do you deal with, okay, try that one again. When I fired up the camera, I was going to go, I'm dealing with finances, and then it dawned on me. Today is an odd day. And I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to do my best to look at the home and the operations of the energy behind the home on the odd days. And then the logical side, the finances, running the business, and bear in mind, your business is also, the financial side of your home is also a business. We'll go into that in more detail tomorrow. Okay. But I got the camera fired up and then went, okay, I'm ready to record. I'm ready to go. Wait a minute. This is not the second. This is not an even day. So I looked at it and went, nope, it's not an even day. So what is today? Why am I having trouble keeping track of what today is? Today is the 3rd. Okay. It's not, and because it's not an even day, I'm leaving the finances out of it. But I got the camera turned on and then went, uh-oh, I'm off track here. So let's get back on track, which boils down to how the home is feeling. Okay, now my immediate brain is working right here. I got the printer up and running. So now one of the tasks that I'm going to be going through is eliminating things that require mail coming to me, because now I've got a way of getting a hard copy done. And I'll tell you, that was a challenge and a half. Okay, even yesterday when I tried getting some stuff in to deal with the passing of my brother. Okay, the brain is necessary. If the brain's not working, your home won't work either. Okay, you will run into snags. So I've got the basic, the mental, the material side of the brain set up. The computer is right here. You know, fortunately, I got 4 eyes on my computer, 4 screens, which is not bad given my technological capacity. But the floor of the office is already cleared out. Okay, I've got my painting station sorted around. That's where I do the creative side. So intriguingly enough, it said the brain is set up a little backwards in one sense, because the right side of the brain is usually the logic side, and the left side is usually the creative side. Okay, I think that's the way they usually work it. In my case, the left side of the house brain, of the home brain, is on the left side. Okay, so is the oxygen supply, by the way, as in my window. So on this side of the office, I've got all the logical side. On that side, I've got the creative side. Okay. They do overlap a little, but that's due to the configuration of the building. Okay, and since it's got to work that way, we just deal with it. But you get the area in the brain sorted around. Once you've got the energy running smoothly, you'll be able to move to the rest of it. Now, today, I've got a whole bunch of things I've got to deal with. Okay. One of which is going to be clearing out a bunch of clutter off my deck. Okay, because again, okay, when you take a look at the entrance to your home, okay, and here's where, like, I've looked at, boy, I'm stumbling a lot today. I've talked to you about feng shui before. In Eastern society, the entire culture is set up for it. But the principle of energy guidance, energy manipulation, if you will, is the same. So we've got the brain working. Let's get the interaction with the outside world working. And the way you look at that is when you take a look at your main entrance to your home. Okay, when you open the door to the main entrance to your home. Okay, I don't care what direction it comes from, because it comes from all sorts of directions. But this is where the feng shui side of it, the energy guidance, comes in. When you open the main door to your home to enter, you take a look right at that immediate wall that you're looking at and ask yourself, is there a reflective surface right there? Usually they call that a mirror, but you might have a china cabinet or something with glass in it sitting right when you enter. Okay, you take a look at that entryway. If there is a reflective surface, that is, you've got to do one of two things. Now, since I'm not a real I'm not really fond of rearranging houses. If you've got a mirror or a reflective surface, okay, then around the edge of that mirror, because what happens is energy comes in. If it hits a reflective surface, it's going to go out again. Okay. That is, and that applies to if the mirror is set facing directly. If it's set at an off angle, well, take a look at the way energy works very much like light in this case. If the mirror is set flat, okay, the energy will hit the mirror and bounce right back. Okay. If, on the other hand, it is slightly tilted, the energy will hit here and bounce in off the angle. Now, this is a standard understanding if you understand optics at all. Okay, or if you want to test it, you've got a laser pointer that works like a charm too. Okay, but the energy will hit and bounce off in the direction and right off the angle properly. Now that said, if your mirror is facing directly out the hall again, get yourself plants, whether they are live plants, whether they are plastic, whether it's a drawing, whether it's a decal, it doesn't matter. Decals on a mirror are the easiest. And I strongly recommend those plants be. Vines are a great one because they do encourage growth. Okay, when you start taking a look at flowers, they all have the same, on the overall, they have the same impact. Okay, you put them around the edge of the mirror, not all the way around, just on the corner, the four compass points or on the corners will work quite nicely. Okay, when you put them there, what that does is it breaks the reflective surface. It's kind of like putting a drop of oil into water. It'll break the surface tension. Okay, net result, the energy can come into the home and stay put. I should say stay put until you're ready to utilize. So you get that straightened out to start with. Now remember what I mentioned about the arteries in your home. The first thing you make sure of, okay, and this is literally when I get done this video, that's what I'm doing next, okay, is you clear the arteries out in your home so you can pass down them easily. Okay, the easiest way to tell if they're clear, if you can run a vacuum cleaner down your hall without running into anything on the floor, you're always clear. Okay, if you can't, it needs to be corrected. And this is simply a question of making sure that we get your home running properly. Properly, from my standpoint, means it drops your stress level, brings your energy level up, makes your helps your communication lines run more smoothly, etc., etc. Okay, all of these are the benefits of having your home, of removing the clutter and really organizing your home the way you desire it. Now, I went through a whole pile of paperwork yesterday that had to be cleared out of the way. Junk information I no longer require. And to give you an idea of how bad of a pack rat I used to be, that junk information was from back in 2004. Okay, this is the kind of paperwork that I'm talking about I spent a lifetime building up, and now I'm just discarding it. Okay, very critical to get you to bring your stress level down, to bring the energy back into balance. Get rid of the excess stuff. Kind of like if you're overweight, getting rid of the excess weight, dropping the weight, not losing it, but dropping it. Okay, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, probably in a few days, but anyway, by clearing out the clutter, by clearing out that extra weight, and by clearing out the extra stuff you're thinking about that you no longer require, such as files that are 20 years old that nobody cares about anymore. Okay, and since my income tax is finally all set up, it's all been gone through today, most of the receipts that I've been hanging on to for years, I'm now going to be disposing of. Okay, because I'm starting clear. And that's why I just figured out this morning, I figured out a way of actually modifying the tracking in my business to make sure it's easier for me to track. Now, it would seem, as a matter of fact, we should do that. Gives you an idea how much I've got on the go, doesn't it? I've got this neat little thing, and this works like an absolute chart. Okay, having a list. Now I'm just using the same sheet, so it's only down at the bottom here. You take a sheet of paper, you write the date down on it so you can separate it, and that way you can run things over onto the next day. Okay, but by having a list of tasks set that you're striving to accomplish, okay, you make the list, and each task is only 15 minutes to a half hour in length. That way you can check them off and feel like you're getting things accomplished. Okay, so I'm getting this done, but I was going somewhere with that, and Lord knows where. This is one of those days where apparently I'm going to be a little scattered. Okay. That being said, I would love to hear your comments in the comments below. And because I've been working in the consulting field for, well, now almost 49 years, in a week and a half here, we're on the third 10 days. I will end up hitting, I turned 59. It's about time I got my head on straight, really. Talk about cutting it close to the wire. But I look at it this way. Okay, I know what I'm up to now. And I know with what I'm up to, I broke that goal that I had. These two goals, which is part of the home. One of the ways of eliminating the stress in your home is to know where you're standing. Okay, which is why I've got this sign here. We have legally acquired a minimum of 3,800 by May 31st of 2022 at 1 minute to midnight. Now that 3,800, as I've said before, I only require 25 to run my home. But by increasing that price incrementally, that goal incrementally, it has consistently proven effective in bringing my income up. Okay, so you get the arteries cleared out. Okay, now once you've done that, now you can start on the other rooms. Okay, because, boy, I wonder how many times I've actually said the word okay in the last, 5 minutes, well, 20 minutes here. Talk about overusing a word. By looking at the energy flow in your home, you will bring, by straightening it out, you will bring the energy down, to the stress level down to a functional level. When I woke up this morning, last night, something shifted gears a little, and I actually ended up sleeping 6 hours pretty much straight. Therefore, ended up getting up this morning and getting a few things out of the way already. One of the biggest challenges at this stage is staying on top of it. So, of course, what I'm going to be doing with this list here, I recommend the three items on the list. Problem with that for me is I usually end up with way too many things that I really have to get to. And since I seem to have a memory that's a little short on occasion, in case you hadn't noticed, having the extended list is still useful. It just means I end up with a little longer list. Right now, because these two items will be cleared off right away. Those two items being the getting this video recorded and then getting it posted. Once you have that pattern down, what you'll find happening, because you're getting more organized, you're getting the energy cleared out of your home. Okay, you're getting it so it runs smoothly. Once the brain is cleared so it can work, and the heart is cleared so that you can breathe properly. Okay, the lungs I always chalk up to making sure you've got a window open, if at all possible. Okay, now fortunately a home is built with a lot of lung entrances, a lot of windows. Even the door counts as a window. Now, obviously, we can safely say you're not living in an airtight house. Okay, you may be living in a house that's got internal air filtration and what have you. All of these things still apply. You make sure those critical points are taken care of. Then you start working on the others, and the more clutter you get out of your way, the easier that energy is going to flow. It's kind of like, if you think about it, if you put a whole pile of rocks in the way, water has to work its way through, and it will not travel in a hurry. Plug a drain, see how well that works. You clear out the plug drain, and all of a sudden the water will flow smoothly. Same thing applies with the energy in your home. You clear out the clutter, you get rid of it, and I don't mean just reorganize it, although I will tell you, organizing it to start with will make it run smoother. An obvious example, take the idea of a water flow. Okay, if you've got if you've got a ditch that's got all kinds of gravel in it, all kinds of junk in it, and you don't have any place to put that junk right now, even if you take that junk and line it up on the sides, so it's no longer in the center, what'll happen is the water will flow through that area a lot faster, a lot more effectively, thereby enabling you to concentrate on other things. Now, if you go with that idea with this increase in energy, because you only have so much, there's only so much energy running through your system. But when you look at the idea of a river, of a stream, you've got the stream going, you've got the water going through, but it's all cluttered. The moment at that point, having a water wheel there, a method of generating power, of redirecting the energy to water your crops and what have you. You got the water wheel already there. You've already thought about it, but you've got a problem with energy flow. As you clear the clutter out of the way, even if it boils down to lining it up on the side of the riverbank, okay, what ends up happening is the water flows through faster. Net result, the water wheel works, thereby generating more energy. Now, intriguingly enough, I'm not an engineer, and that's where my problem, therein lies part of the problem. I've got the schematics in my head for a power system, and I don't have a copyright on it because of the fact that, well, frankly, I don't know how to do it. Okay, but I've got a schematic in my head for literally creating one item that will be a solar, wind, and water generated power system, all in one item. Okay, and this is where looking at the world in a different fashion can come in handy. Now, by no means do I claim to be a technological wizard. Okay, when I took a course in theoretical genetics, it was in high school first of all. Okay, but it's called theoretical because I have not got the background to prove it. But I do have the background and experience to find out that what I'm talking about, the theory works out. Now, I'm going to go sideways on you on that one. The theory of relativity that so many scientists live by. Okay, the one that was presented, as far as I understand it, by Einstein. Okay, now, everybody that I talk to, when you talk about the theory of relativity, it seems to be they call out E equals mc squared. Well, I'll tell you this. That formula works like an absolute charm for what it was intended, but it's got nothing to do with relativity. The theory of relativity that I have found that I work with and makes much more sense is 1 plus 1 equals 3. Now, do understand something. This is not a mathematical equation. It's not math, and therein lies the problem for many scientists. It is a theoretical thing that works like an absolute charm, but I'm not going to go into it in detail here. But it's that idea of combining concepts and finding out here's where I'm starting, here's what I'm aiming for, and here's the balance point. Here's what the journey looks like in the middle of it. Now, this morning, one of the things I did was I went through my business policies, and I recommend. Now, some people will call it policies and procedures. Some people will call it, just a plan, a working plan, whatever. But having a guideline, having a set of priorities in place, so you know how to deal with things properly. Do understand when I look at business and I look at the home. Okay, the home and the house are combined in this fashion. Knowing what your ideas are. For instance, when you're looking at running a house, do understand the house is simply a business. And that's an understatement to say the least. Well, we went really long on that one, so we're going to cut this off here. I will be back to you to talk to you tomorrow. Okay. Now, tomorrow we're going to look at getting your business, getting the actual house running properly, starting with the finances. So I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.